first 18 months of the Obama presidency, we have seen the Republican members of Congress drag their feet, put out misinformation, and finally refused even discuss proposed legislation, all the while collecting their paychecks and their publicly funded health care. We have seen disrespect for the President of the United States, the office of the President of the United States, on a scale never before seen in modern America. It's one thing to disagree with legislation, another to just stop it. No vote, just cause nothing to be done at all. That's not why you were elected and put into office. You're there to govern, to lead. And stating that your feel-bads got hurt, or you don't like the game and you're not going to play, is not an option, just like it's not an option in anybody else's job. But refusing to play may be just what we get if some Republican and Tea Party candidates are elected. Republican candidates and House Republican leader John Boehner have publicly stated no compromises for the next 2 years. No compromises means no work. Well, at least no work for you and I. You know, the people who pay these guys. The very definition of a political government is compromise. You want this, I want that. Let's find something in the middle that we can both live with and maybe gets us both a little closer to our goals. The idea of no compromise means no governing, no action at all. And although many short-sighted people may think this is a good way to stop what they may not agree with in this presidency, what do you think is going to happen when the political worm turns? Even if the Republicans were to take back control of both houses, and even if President Obama lost his bid for re-election in 2012, what do you think the new minority party would do? Same thing? You bet! No Republican legislation will make it through Congress because the Democrats will use the exact same tactics now being mastered by the Republicans. And that equals no government again. But it gets even worse. Utah's Tea Party-backed Republican Senate candidate Mike Lee talked about the possible inconvenience of a government shutdown to stop what he sees as a runaway budget. An inconvenience? Really? Let's see, Mike. You might be inconvenienced if your paycheck showed up a week or two late, but the health care for you and your family is going to continue. In the meantime, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and the Post Office and all the other federal agencies would come to a stop. Inconvenience? Putting people's lives and livelihoods on the block to oppose a skyrocketing budget deficit? Let's pause and just take a look at where that deficit came from, shall we? When the Clinton administration finished, according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, they left a budgetary surplus of $86.4 billion in fiscal 2000. Again, that was his last year in office, and it does not count any Social Security surpluses. That was the budget condition that George W. Bush and the Republican-held Congress inherited when Bush took office. In 2008, the last full year George W. Bush was in office, the president's budget request optimistically projected that the deficit for all of 2008 would be $410 billion. I call his proposed budget optimistic because by October of that same year, 2008, the budget deficit had ballooned to $10.2 trillion. That's trillion with a T, trillion dollars. This is not because of the 9/11 attacks. It wasn't just because of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. This was primarily the $700 billion government bailout of the banks and Wall Street. And who had restricted the enforcement of or eliminated the rules governing those businesses? Could it have been Obama? That would have been one hell of a trick. Obama wouldn't even take office until January 20th of the following year. It was George W. Bush and the Republican-held Congress. According to the Treasury, the Bush administration added an average $500 billion a year to the deficit, every year starting in 2003. As I record this, the U.S. national debt clock is reading just under $14 trillion. That means that all of the wild spending that President Obama and the Democrats have been accused of amounts to less than $4 trillion since October of 2008, 4 months before President Obama took office. And that does include Social Security and all the extra bailouts and the stimulus package, which President Obama and the Democrats were forced to make to fix the fiscal irresponsibility of the previous administration. But Chuck, how do you know all this stuff? I'm sitting in front of a computer. It's connected to the internet. And if you're watching this, so are you. Use your favorite search engine. Use Google, Yahoo, whatever. Go there. Type in your questions. Hit enter. Follow the links. Or, if you don't know what questions to ask, you can follow the links down below. Those are what I used, and they will get you started. Ask questions. Whatever you do, don't just blindly believe any politician and what they're telling you. They're trying to get your vote. They'll tell you anything they think that you want to hear to get that vote from you. Don't give that vote away cheaply. It's yours. You earned it. You earn it every day when you go to work. Mow your lawn. Take care of your family. Pay your taxes. You earned it the old-fashioned way, doing the best you can, living every day as an American. Don't let anybody sucker you out of it. Go vote. Go on. Be well. I'm sure in the comments somebody's bound to say, you were reading some of that. And I was. But that's only because I'm a better writer than I am an actor. And I'm a terrible writer. What are you still doing here? Go find somebody you believe.